Hello, everyone. I am so happy and glad to have all of you over here. Today, I am going to run this program called Hour of Code from Avishkar. And of course, my name is Tarun, and I know we got started a little late, but that's pretty much my life story. Anything that I do, it starts always with a flaw. But as makers, we tend to make the best of whatever we are actually given. So let me just get started with the quick presentation that I have for all of you. So let me make sure, I hope that you are able to see the presentation. I think yes. So this is the hour of code, and it's 13 December, and it's by me. So I saw that my team actually marketed this particular presentation or promoted this particular hour by coding session by Tarun. So let's basically start off with that very important question: Who am I? And I think it's an important question for all the makers out there who are here to kind of spend the next hour learning something new about coding. It's important to answer this question to oneself, because that basically gives you purpose in life, and that allows you to do a lot of crazy, insane, incredible, awesome, infinite things in your life. Who am I really? Let's see. So I'm a maker. I like to make things. I like to code. I like to play with mechanics. I like to play with the robotics. I like to play with different tools. I like to design. I like to make presentations, anything which allows my creativity, which is there in my head, to be shown or expressed to others, whether it is through movies, robots, code. I love to do that. So that's who I am. Apart from being a maker, and I also believe that you are not just one thing, you are many things. So each one of you who's actually here trying to learn something from me, this is another learning for you. I'm also a traveler. I like to travel. I've traveled close to 30 countries across the world. I have done some crazy hikes like Grand Canyon, like Yellowstone National Park, like traveling the remote parts of Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, the whole of the country in India, and then 30 odd countries. So that's the other part of who I am. I'm also a seeker. That means I like to do meditation. I practice Vipassana. And I think if you want to do crazy things in life and pretty much infinite things in life, then you need to have a source of energy that you plug yourself in, which is far more bigger than you yourself. So that's who I am. But the most important and the most exciting thing that I'm very proud of is I am also a father of two lovely daughters. Both my daughters, well, I won't say my younger one can code, but yeah, older one can code. She can design better than I do. She can make movies better than I do. And hopefully one of these days she'll enjoy these sessions also. So that's who I am. I also founded Avishkar, which because of which this particular hour of code is organized today. So at Avishkar, our goal is to make next generation technologies available to each and every one of you at your fingertips. When I was growing up, getting hands dirty with new tech, which is essentially computing or 3D printing or robotics, was very, very difficult. And I saw that. That the difference when I went to US to get my master's, I saw the difference that kids who had done coding or robotics or played with electronics when they were 11 were far ahead of me, because I got access to those things when I was probably 21. So that's one of the purposes in life that I see myself with, to ensure that each one of you gets access to these tools fairly early in life. And that's why Avishkar is there. So next thing is CS week. So CS basically stands for computer science. By the way, did I mention that I'm also a computer science engineer? So I did my engineering from University of Delhi back in the day in year 2000, before I went to US to get my master's. So what exactly is CS week? CS week is always celebrated between 9th December, or rather 7th December to 13th December. Part of the reason that it is celebrated is in the memory of Admiral Grace Brewster. She is a pretty long name, but I've just chosen the first two. Grace Brewster. She was born on 9th December. She was also part of the Harvard team, which created the MARC program in by the toward end of World War II. A fantastic engineer, did some great work. This particular week is celebrated you know, in her memory. And also within CS Week, at a lot of places internationally and also nationally now, an hour of code is celebrated. An hour of code was an initiative which was started by code.org. They started the initiative, I think, back in 2013, when every school started organizing and celebrating of an hour of code. Part of the reason of hour of code or CS week is because everyone knows and believes that technology is going to be the next leveler in life. It is going to be the next big thing that you would see in life. Where the next big stars would come, rock stars would could not come from the music industry or from movie industry, but they would come from the industry of tech. And some of the examples in front of you are Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Bill Gates, for that matter, or Steve Jobs. So the next generation of rock stars would be from the coding industry. So part of the reason that part of the motive of Hour of Code is to ensure that everyone gets equal access to this new technology. Because what really happens is, a world becomes inequitable when you're not providing equal opportunity to everyone. Now, what people do with that opportunity is up to them, and that's basically a function of their talent and function of their motivations in life. But important thing is everyone should get a chance to code, and that's the primary purpose of what Avishkar is also trying to achieve with this Hour of Code, where it's a completely free initiative where I will be doing some programming with you, with each one of you. We will give access to you on our platform again, which is absolutely free of cost, where you can sign up on our platform and you can start coding along with me. So, as I said, I am a maker. I like doing things rather than talking about them. So I think it's important that we get started. Um, but before we do that, just a quick importance of CS thing. So as I mentioned, computer science is extremely important because the next rock stars of our generation are going to come from this particular domain. I would also add robotics into this domain. Computer science and robotics are the two key areas from which the next set of superstars are going to come, or rock stars are going to come in our sector. But just from a learning standpoint also, computer science is very critical, because computer science is nothing but it's basically a manifestation of logical thinking. If I were to ask you to go, to write an algorithm on how to make a cup of tea, or write an algorithm on how to decide what path to follow if you have to go to your school or a neighborhood Kiryana store or neighborhood departmental store, people who are logical thinkers would be able to divide the whole complex part of going from your house to, say, a neighborhood kirana store would far easier. They'll be able to divide it into logical chunks, and not eat the elephant in pieces, or rather not eat the whole elephant, but eat the elephant into pieces. Not no cruelty towards the elephant there, but the idea is, can you break a complex problem into smaller chunks which are easily understandable or comprehensible by everyone. So that's first part of computer science. The second part is basically anyone who's good at mathematics is able to good at computer science. So it also enhances your mathematical prowess. And third and most important part, which I believe to be true, and true more for robotics than for coding, is the fact that it allows you to, or enables you to, learn about complex problem solving. So there are two kinds of problem solving. One is a simple problem solving where there's only one variable or two variables at max. But when you're doing something like robotics, you have external environment, you have sensors, you have electronics, you have coding. So problem solving becomes that more complex because you have 4 or 5 different variables involved. So that's why I believe that, if you take up computer science early in life, say at an age group of, I think, when you are in grade 6 or 7, or maybe grade 3 or 4 also, then your chances of developing logical thinking, mathematical prowess, and complex problem solving become higher, because computer science by nature is very applied. So that's pretty much the theory or the gyan that I wanted to give. I will now want you to get started. So the next 1 hour, I think probably 45 minutes now, would be spent in writing few code and few programs. So this is how it's going to be. We will basically write our code on AMS, which is Avishkar Maker Studio. You can go to Avishkar Maker Studio by typing on your browser www.avishkar.cc/AMS. I am using a slightly advanced version of AMS, which will be soon launched, but I just wanted to, kind of tease you with that particular interface. So what is AMS? And then Hello World, the first program, and then sequencing, and then loops and variables. So that's what we are going to do in the next 45 minutes. So I am now going to the AMS screen. I hope my team can assist me, can ensure that I am actually allowed to be there. Okay. I'm on the AMS screen. So as you can see on the AMS screen, so let me just very quickly, so this is a shinier interface of AMS. It will not be available to you if you're using avishkar.cc/AMS. It's a new version that's going to be launched very soon, but you might as well actually have a look at it. So the AMS software has 4 different parts to it. So this is the central part where you actually write the code or you create the code. You can either make the code in blocks or you can make the code, you can just write text-based coding. So blocks-based coding or text-based coding, these are 2 interfaces. On the left-hand side is basically a simulation and interface. So for a maker board, this is how the simulation interface looks like. And very soon you will have something for tweak and something for robotics as well. So I can switch off the simulation by just pressing on this, but we might as well keep it on. And bottom side, you would see that there are different contexts. So context is basically, we'll talk about context in a little while, but what kind of program or what particular feature of the program you're trying to access. So you have control, you have loops, you have math, you have text, button, Bluetooth, display, sound, sprites, variable, functions, and hardware. Of course, we're not going to do hardware because for that you need the actual hardware, but we'll be using maybe control, we'll be using loops, we'll be using math, and we'll be using display and variables. So this is the context part where you will see different blocks. Here you will simulate it. This is the blocks interface where different blocks can be put together to run the program, and code is where you launch the code. And of course, you can select which particular product you want to basically write the program for. Right now, we are doing the simulation for MakerBoard, so that's why we have chosen MakerBoard as a selection thing. And here is the hamburger menu. You will probably open, close programs and things like that. So let's get our hands really quick and dirty with our first program. And I remember in any language that you work on, you will always write the first program as hello world. So let's very quickly go to control and drag and drop my program. So my program is basically, this sets the boundary of a program. So that means nothing can go beyond it. So it's important in programming that you define the start and stop state very, very carefully. You would always want to make sure that people are are not defining anything beyond the start and stop state. So an instance would be, if you have to make a cup of tea, most of the time when I ask people to write an algorithm to make a cup of tea, what they will do is, they'll say, switch on the gas, they'll do all the process and then they'll enjoy the tea and they'll go out, but they will never define the stop state. And the stop state should be switch off the gas, because if you don't switch off the gas or switch off the stove, then the chances are your house may get caught in fire. So it's important that in robotics, in programming, in coding, start and stop states are very well defined. So now our first program is to write hello world. So let's go to display. And since it's display, let's see what all options are there. In display, you will see show character, you will see show pattern, you will see show number, show scrolling text. Let's look and let's choose this and write down hello world. Then color, I like bright red color, so I'm gonna choose red as an option and the brightness as 100, which is the maximum. So let's this is the basic code I have written. I'm not going to even save it. Let me just simulate it. Yes, I guess that's right. That's the easiest way possible. HELLO, where I have just dragged and dropped couple of blocks, chosen couple of configurations, and my program is ready. Believe me, when I wrote my first Hello World program, it was not this easy. I was 21 when I wrote it, and we had to write it in the C language. But now times have changed, things have become easier, some things have become more complex. But coding to start off has become easier. So if you are trying this out on your local system, that's the option is very simple. Go to my program, show scrolling text, drag and drop from display, write hello world, choose the color and brightness, and that's it. So now this is the first program that we wrote. Now, how about we sequentialize something? How about we basically display 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up to 9. So from 1 to 9, let's display something. So a simpler option, like if you have not done any coding in the past, what you would do is, you would like to sequentially display it for some time, then the next number, then the next number, and so on and so forth. So let's drag and drop. So by the way, I have to put this in the junk folder, which you can see over here. Let's again choose display. And this time around, we should use, what should we use? Show a character, show a pattern, show a number. I think number is a good option because we want to display numbers only. So let's do this. Show number 1. Color, let's choose red, and brightness is 100 again. And then next is basically we will now choose. This is an important part which most of the people forget. Most of the people forget. You know why not? I actually also forget, and we'll see what it does. So show number. Now I'm going to just control copy paste. To make our lives a little easier, I'm just going to display it till 5. So it's a sequential display. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me choose different colors so that I don't get confused. Ultra, okay. And by the way, by end of this, once we are done, I'm gonna give you chances to ask questions, or maybe I'll prompt some answers from your end. So this is what we have done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, let's simulate it. Oh, did you notice it actually happened very, very quickly? So I'm not going to ask you a question right now because I think I just want to make sure that everyone understands this clearly. So what really has happened is it has shown 1 for a microsecond, then it showed 2, then it showed 3, then it showed 4, and then it showed 5. So for us to make this output meaningful, where we are displaying numbers from 1 to 5, then we have to add some delay here. So how do we do that? We go back to control, we choose wait. 1000 would mean 1000 milliseconds. Let me choose 200 milliseconds instead of 1 millisecond or 1000 millisecond. And again, drag and drop here. So everyone, now is the time when I'll start asking questions. So get ready and either answer on your Facebook Live or your YouTube thing. But let me now first display this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have done 200. Let me make it slightly longer again. So instead of 200, let me make it 500 milliseconds, which is like half a second. So 500 milliseconds here. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. I'm assuming everyone can see what's happening on the screen. Now I will ask you questions, and I have my phone to get your comments and responses as well. So don't mind if I look down. The question that I'm going to ask you is, can you tell me if I did not want my last number 5 to be shown, what should I do here? My question again is, if I do not want my number 5 to be shown here, then what should I do? And you can respond either on YouTube or you can respond on Facebook Live, where we are live right now. I'm asking that if I do not want the number 5 to be displayed here, what can I do? So in the end, the screen should go blank. So anybody is saying that remove block. No, not sure. Others, Gaurav Shandilya or Sampat Kumar Ranganathan or Nandroid Logs or Ifat Jahan, can you tell me? Yusuf? Anyone? If I do not want my last number, okay, remove the block or use clear display. Prachi Kelkar, you are absolutely right. So let me go to display, and in the end, what I'll do is I'll use something called clear display. By the way, I don't know what you mean by remove block. If I remove the block, whatever is left on the screen, that will still remain there. I don't think that it will clear the display. So let's now test it again. So clear LCD from Pooja Kumar Amit. So basically that's right, because Pooja Kumar Amit, I know this boy, Kiansh. I think this boy is Kiansh. Clear LCD works for full, but for the maker board, it's clear display. So let's see what happens now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and clear screen. Fantastic. So good work. We wrote our two programs we have already written in, I think, less than maybe 15 minutes. Hello World was the first program, and the second program was essentially this, where we are sequentially displaying different numbers one after the other. So now once you've done that, how about you actually go ahead and write programs from 1 to 100, or write a program where we can display from numbers 1 to 100. Do you think this is the best way to do it? Again, I'm waiting for your answers. I'll repeat my question. My question is, again, I'm looking down because I'm looking for your responses. Um, I'm looking for a response that if I wanted to display from 1 to 100, numbers from 1 to 100, what would be the best method? Would the best method be that I basically, kind of keep on doing this, copying the number, this show number, and adding one after the other, adding one after the other, or is there a better method? कोई और better method है इसको करने के लिए? Can we do it slightly differently, where we can probably display from numbers from 1 to 100 in a more systematic manner? Okay, so somebody has said make a loop till 100. So that's any bot with repeat function. Okay, so any bot, what do you mean by repeat function? I don't know. I mean, repeat. Okay, count with blocks. So that's one. Chandelier saying count with blocks. Let's see. So I think you got the answer right. So loop is the right answer. Whenever I take sessions anywhere, and this is the most exciting part of my class, I myself realized that loop was one feature because of which I think whole idea about programming automation came in. As humans, we do not like to do things which are same or mundane in nature. कोई चीज अगर एक ही जैसे की है, रोज रोज हमें करने में मजा नहीं आता. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वुड बी एक्साइटेड बाय द आइडिया ऑफ मेकिंग टी फॉर योर लाइफ? मतलब कितने सारे लोग आप में से सिर्फ चाय बनाना चाहेंगे जिंदगी में, या सिर्फ एक तरह का काम करना चाहेंगे? एंड आई एम श्योर माय टीम इज गोइंग टू से दैट एवरीवन इज सेइंग नो, वी डोंट लाइक डूइंग दैट, for two reasons. One is doing the same thing again and again can get very, very boring. So unless you are a dumb person, then, yeah, maybe you would want to do that. But if you're not, and if you want more excitement in your life, you would like to do new things. So for that, but there are a lot of things in life where you would want the same kind of movement to happen. For example, आज से पहले जब पंखे नहीं आए थे, when we did not have electric fan, there was somebody who would do this kind of movement for for other people in the room, right? You would not want to do that. So that's why we invented fans, because we wanted to bring creativity to our life, and we did not want to fan someone else in the process. So that was one of the reasons that I think machines were created. One was because as human beings, as a race, we want to be very, very creative, and we enjoy doing new things every day. So that's why we created loops. The second thing that the loops were created were because, as human beings, our output can change. I mean, today I can do a fantastic class. Tomorrow, if my mood is not right, or if I'm not feeling happy about life, or something else is going wrong, I may not do a fantastic class, right? So it also depends upon my output as a human being can be varied. It will not be fixed. It's not going to be accurate and precise every time. That's why you use loops, because their machines can be very, very predictable. And some people actually like machines for that. For instance, I like machines because they are very, very predictable. I feed in something into a machine, every time that's the output going to come. But if I feed in something into a student, I'm not sure the output is going to be the same. So those two reasons, that human beings by nature want to do creative things and they get bored by doing same kind of things, that was one of the reasons that loops were invented, or machines were invented, or computer science was invented. The second is that machines give you accurate or precise output. That's why we tend to use them again and again. So that's a little bit of gyan and theory and philosophy, not wanting to keep you completely bored by that. So let me try and start doing something else before it becomes too boring. By the way, this is the blocks view. So code view would be something like this. So void program AMS void, and then display number delay, display number delay, display. And you will see every time I write a different code, the text would change here. So let's write a code to display numbers from 1 to 9 using a loop. So how are we going to do that? Okay, we'll go to, let's assume control. And no, not control, loops actually. Yes, loops. And we say, okay, count I. So I'm going to delete all of these blocks. Please don't mind. And in the meantime, if you want me to write a specific kind of program which is possible during this time period, I'll be happy to do that. Just write in the comment section, and I'll get to it when I'm not writing a program. So right now we are going to display from 1 to 10. And loops is the function, or loops is the feature that we're using. So by the way, loops is not a function, it is a construct. And in computer science, we have very many constructs. So construct would mean, a method. So construct, for example, loops is one construct, design structure or if and else would be another kind of construct, and so on and so forth. We'll talk about that as and when we get to it. So count I from 1 to 5. I here is 1 to 9. I here would mean basically a variable. So, but like a good programmer, you have to always, whenever you introduce a new thing into your program, you have to tell the compiler or the program what it is. By the way, compiler is nothing but a library which kind of which translates your program into machine language. We'll not go into those details, or maybe in the end we'll go. So variable, so I'll say declare. So first option, and by the way, variable declaration has to happen in the beginning of the program, all points of time. So if I am going to use the variable I have to tell my compiler or my software that I'm going to declare a variable called I. So I declared I. Now next step is I will go back into variables. I will again define I, and I should be defined as 0. So this is an important thing. Everyone asks me why I do that. This is like a good programming construct. See, when I declared variable I could have had any junk value to it. It could have 569, 786, 693, or 1, 2, I don't know. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we define a certain value. We give some value to this particular variable. And that's what we did. Define I is equal to 0 and count I from 1 to 9. And now what we'll do is basically we'll go back into our function called display, and we'll again take show number and show number 0. No, that's not a good idea. We'll go to math, and rather we'll go to variable again, and we will just drag and drop this here. And again, we'll choose my favorite color in this, bright red, 100. And then we will wait for some time. We'll clear display. We can clear display here, but I would like to do the clear display in the end. This is the most optimal use. And why I say this is the most optimal use, because I started the program, I declared the variable, I gave it certain value, then I did the loop thing. If I was, if I had put clear display within the loop, then it would be taking an extra machine cycle. Because we know when we show a number, automatically it's going to display the screen any which way. So why to waste one clear display there? And I have put a clear display outside the loop itself. So let's try and run this. Okay, play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fantastic. I think I was able to write this program without any flaw. Which is unlike most of the things that I do. So here I would like you to basically, help me with few things. What if I wanted to display only from 1 to 5? Where should I make a change in the code? And I'm again going to look at my phone for your responses. If I wanted to make a change between 1 to, or rather I want to display numbers only from 1 to 5, what should I have done? So Anybot, by the way, has asked what website are you using? I am, of course, using avishkar.cc. So you could go to Avishkar, avishkar.cc/AMS. AMS stands for Avishkar Maker Studio. But again, I'm repeating my question right now. My question is, what should I do to display the number from 1 to 5 only? Right now, as you must have seen that I'm able to display the number from 1 to 9. Pooja is saying count by 1 to 5. Okay, not bad. Very good. So let's see what happens when I do count I. So I want to display the numbers from 1 to 5. So they asked me that I can change this from 1 to 5. That's what I did. Let me replay it. 1, 2, 3. That's right. Absolutely. So I made the change so by the way, this is a for loop. I forgot to mention this. This is kind of a for loop. You have many different kinds of loop. You have repeat, And then if you're not using this software, if you're using something else, then you will see basically something called do while also. So you have while, repeat, or for loop. So this is a for loop. Now, again, a question for you people who are there on the, and you can respond in the comment section, or either on Facebook Live or again on YouTube. The question is, what if I wanted to display only odd numbers from 1 to say 15? What should I do? So tell me, what are the changes I should make? If I wanted to display, again, you can write in comment section. If I wanted to display numbers from 1 to 15, but only odd numbers, not even numbers. So it should display 1, it should display 3, it should display 5. Tell me, what should I do? Do you mind if I drink some water? So I'm again watching, waiting for your responses. I haven't got any so far, but what if I wanted to only, somebody is saying if else loop? No, that's not the case. You can use increment by 2. I have to tell you uh, that you really are smart. Kyansh, I think it is. You can increment by 2. That's right. So I'm incrementing by 2. So increment would be this block. So I want to display numbers from 1 to 15 and incrementing by 2. But I want to display numbers from 1 to 15. So can you tell me where else should I make a change? So Kyansh mentioned that I can change the increment by 2. What else? Is that going to solve the problem? One to 50. No, I want to do it from 1 to 15. So let me do 1 to 15 and let's do this. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And as you can see, 11. And 15. That's right. All right, so this is just a very basic, simple concept that I have talked about, touched upon, which is loops. And we have done some loops which are, these particular loops were called finite loops because there was always, some if and else, some condition on which the loop would execute. For instance, it would, so if you have understood what I've done here is I've incremented 1 by 2, or rather incremented I by 2 every time. So initially, first time it was 1, then it became 3, displayed that, then it became 5, displayed that, then it became 7, displayed that, 9, 11, 13, 15. As soon as it became 15, the program kind of moved out from here and display cleared and the program was shut down. It was completed. But I could have very well done something like a infinite loop. So a very simple infinite loop would be where we can probably use a block like this. So instead of this, I mean, I could have made this also infinite if I did not increment it by say 0 or by any number. Then this will always be an infinite loop, but that's not what we did. So let me. Okay, so if I am doing repeat while true, can anyone help me to write this program now? When I'm using an infinite loop, how do I display from say 1 to 9 within this loop? I'll get you started, not a problem. So I'll go to display and I will show number again. We will go into variables. We'll add I here. Color is red and 100, and again we will do while. So 200. Let's see what it does. Okay, so repeat. Sorry, I think it got stuck in the while loop. Can you tell me how do I make sure that it displays only numbers till Oh, actually, there was nothing wrong with that. I think error was mine. So what I need to do is I have only displayed zero here. So I is zero, and every time I is shown as zero here. I mean, when I play it, it's basically zero being displayed in an infinite loop. I can avoid doing that by adding some math feature here. So define, or rather change. Okay, let's see if this works. Define I by I plus 1. Let's see what is the code that is written. Display number this, and I is equal to I plus 1, which is essentially the case. So define I is equal to I plus 1. Now let's see what is it displaying. 1, 2, 3, and this is going to happen till infinite. So if I wanted to only do it till 9, just respond in the comments and tell me what should I do. If I had to only do it till 9, what block should I use in order to achieve that? Again, I'm looking for answers from you. Yes, you have done variable plus 1. But if I wanted this to stop at 9, what extra block should I use? Rise in Gaming is asking Avishkar can participate both in IRC and Makeup Board. Yes, you can, but I am asking for a different question right now. My question is, what do we do? What can we do to ensure that this loop actually gets stopped at 9? So right now it is stuck in infinite loop. Anybot says if I is equal to 9, stop. And again, let's make it simpler. So let's keep it till 5. So as you mentioned, and then when that happens, then what we are going to do is we are going to break out of the loop. So you have many options. If I had used, I mean, of course, clearly, we knew that. So we have kept options like equal to, or less than equal to, greater than, and things like that. So if I equal to 5, then it will break out of loop. So can someone tell me what will be printed here? What all will be printed? Will it be 1 to 4 or will it be 1 to 5? Will it be 1 to 4 that will be printed, or will it be 1 to 5? I'm just trying to look out for your answers. Will it be 1 to 4 or 1 to 5? You can respond. I have written break from loop, but will it be 1 to 5? Okay, so somebody says it should be from 1 to 5. Okay, let's see. Stop, play, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, wrong answer. So because I was doing this, I was incrementing the numbers before. That's why first time I came, when we went inside, the value of I was 0, so it showed 0. Incremented the value of I by 1, I became 1. Then it checked it, is 1 equal to 5? No, that's not the case. So it did not go in breakout of loop. Then it went back, the condition is still true. So then, I is 1 now. So 1 is printed. So first 0 is printed, then 1 is printed, then 2 is printed, 3 is printed, 4 is printed. And then when it is 4, let's see what happens. I4 is displayed. Then define I became I equal to 4 plus 1, which is 5. And it waited for some time, and then it verified whether I is equal to 5. That is the case. So it broke out of loop. So clearly, when it was 4, then it did not, or rather, when it was 5, it did not display. But had we done this over here, then the answer would be different. Would it be? Let's see. No. I think I need to. Let's display here, and this should. It's a very interesting condition, when we were back in the college, Now, we used to get a lot of interview questions with things like these. If I put it here, so now the first time I is equal to 0, since we want to display from 1, so we'll say I will start with I equal to 1. We'll display 1. 1 is not equal to 5. Then I is enhanced. So let's see, or incremented, and let's see what is displayed now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then close. So let me keep the display on for some time. How can I do that? So 200 is there. I will, at the end of the loop, make it 500. All right, so now let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It stays there for some time and it is displays. So this is very critical, and in programming, it's important to dry run the logic within your own head. You have to always dry run the logic. So for instance, this small sequencing of how I kept if and where I kept define changed everything. This basically, got me the desired result that I wanted. Now, can you tell me where all should I make a change if I only wanted to display the odd numbers between 1 to 9? So that's the code that you see in front of you. Can you tell me what changes should I see? Again, on Facebook Live and on YouTube, you can write the comments and my team will let me know. So what I want to do now is basically I want to display only from 1 to 9, only the odd numbers. So can you tell me what all changes do I need to make if I only want the odd numbers to be displayed? Where should I make the change? Should I make the change in show number? Should I make the change in if I equal to 5 or define? Please suggest. I'm waiting for your responses. Anybot says I define to 0. That is not going to make any difference. I want to display from 1 to the numbers that, again, the sequence that I want to display is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. How do I go about where also clearly it has to be defined to 1 first, because I want the starting number to be 1. So increment by 2, which means in define statement, that's right. I will increment by 2. There is one more change, I think. Can you tell me what else can be the change? Okay, the against if it should be 10. That's right. I think that's a fantastic answer. I think that's Kiansh saying that this should be the code. So let's try this now. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Still 10 was shown. Again, because I think we should probably do a 9 here. So it should break out of the loop when it is 9. Let's see. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That's it. So I think these were, interesting questions. There are a lot of things that you can do in this software. I have just shown you some very, very basic features. We have just talked about, so it's already 5:50. So we have 10 more minutes left in this session. I just want to make sure that I also take up any questions that you may have. So I'm going to open up for any questions. Otherwise, I can probably do a sprite feature or a sound feature as well. So in case if you want me to work on sprite feature, just let me know, write in comments within the YouTube section, the YouTube comments or the Facebook Live comments. I'll be happy to, talk about sprites. So any particular question that you may have, even if it's not related to coding or to not the hour of code, I'm happy to answer if it's related to Avishkaar League. But if you want me to talk about sprites, I'm happy to talk about that also. So Shaurya Agarwal says, would want which site are you using? Anybot? I'm using avishkar.cc. I'll just quickly avishkar.cc, avishkaar.cc/ams. Show new AMS. Just wait for that. It's not, you'll have to wait for that before that happens. But I can show you something else that I have. And let's see. Let me open up a program. I had written a couple of interesting programs for you. Space Invader. So do you want to save your program? No, this is fine. So this is the program for code for Space Invader. And this can get pretty complex. If you look at the code here, the code can get much more complex. The blocks are like this. So let's see. Uh-oh. So 2 blocks are coming. So I think at the same time, I have like invasion from 2 blocks. You can write your own Space Invader as well. Please show new AMS updated with simulation. Okay. The question was, please show new AMS. Okay, so you can actually test out the new AMS also. What you need to do is avishkar.cc/AMS React, REACT. R is capital, E is small, A is small, C is small, and T is small. So again, I would just now very quickly talk about, so I have 8 minutes left, 8 minutes left before this session hour of code gets over. So I have shown you a Space Invader game. We can do something like a Pac-Man also. So this is how the Pac-Man looks. Let's see, let's play it. So Pac-Man, as you know, it's my job to eat these balls. So, and for every ball that I eat, so, imagine the part that it is actually made by somebody like you. And it can get pretty, complicated again, and use a lot of sprites in this. Any questions that you may have for me now? Anything related to Avishkar League or Hour of Coding? Or should I talk about sprites? Sprites is a pretty cool feature, by the way. Let me talk about sprites in that case. Again, a new program. So Ryzen Gaming is asking, can participate both in IRC and MakerBoard? Yes, of course you can. In MakerBoard, whatever hackathon, whatever code you write will be shown on this kind of a board. Whereas in IRC, you will have to, whatever code you write will be basically a robot will kind of virtually solve that problem statement for you. So the robot will have sensors fitted into it. Robot will have, in Tweak, no sensors, but in middle and senior level, it will have sensors fitted into it. It will have motion. So whatever you code it for, it will behave accordingly. So I hope that was useful. Very quickly, I'm just going to talk about sprites. By the way, control was all about my program, wait, if, do, and if other things. Loops, very self-explanatory. Mathematics, very clear from its own. Text, button. Button can be an interesting feature. So for example, in Pac-Man, I had used WASD. So let's quickly write a quick program for buttons. Again, it will be using the if feature. So let's assume if W button is pressed, then it should probably show one particular image. So maybe like in case of W, it shows the duck pattern. Control C, Control V. In when A is pressed, then it should show a rocket pattern. And then when S is pressed, it should show maybe not a pattern, but an animation. Go to display, go to show animation, diagonal. And if D is pressed, then it shows a gunfire or a wave, maybe, right? So this is basically a very quick program to demonstrate the idea of buttons. So let's play. And you know what? Nothing will happen now. And this is a very interesting thing. It always happens with me. The point is you have to be always within a, while loop. Only then, when we give basically actual hardware maker boards to people, that's the time when they, also face the same problem. So let's start it now. So button W is pressed, as you can see, duck. Button A is pressed, a rocket. S is pressed, then it is a diagonal animation. And button D is pressed, then it is a wave effect. Pretty cool, right? So I think I have pretty much used up all the time duration for today's session. It's 3 more minutes left. I'm happy to take any more questions that you may have. Otherwise, I would love to do more hour of codes. This was a pretty basic and simple one, and maybe I'll do an advanced one where I actually program actual hardware. So we will be using hardware, or maybe we'll be using sprites, and those programs can get pretty complex. I mean, right now, because of the block interface, this looks pretty simple and easy. But if I had to go in and see the code within the code feature, then also it looks pretty easy. Yeah, it's not that bad. So as I had said in the very beginning, hour of code, the idea of these hour of codes is to ensure that we take programming or coding or computer science to everyone. And there are people of different varied skill levels. Some people are more advanced and some are beginners. Hour of code is always geared towards more, beginner level. So that's why what I did and tried was mostly beginner level stuff. Computer science is going to be the magic powers of tomorrow, the wizardry of tomorrow. So if you can take it up and get excited to do more interesting things with computer science, I think it will be a great move for your career. But as I said, no individual is just one skill. They are amalgamation of many, basically combination of many skills. So computer science will give you an edge in the world of, say, jobs or career. um, you read more, you will get more edges. You play more, you will get some other skill developed. Or you travel, you get some other skill developed. I know travel is difficult right now in the COVID times. So what I'm trying to say is just not be one thing, try to be many things. Thank you very much from everyone over here, from Avishkar, whether it is Sandesh or Nayan, who are helping me out running this thing. Thank you guys, and I wish you great luck, each one of you. And till the next time when I do a slightly more advanced stuff, have a great day and great night. Thank you. Bye. And log into avishkar.cc/.